Jokic, to me, didn't need to make a statement. He been making them all year. Where we been? We looking at this man, we like, hold on, wait a minute. How can he do this?
In a world where athleticism and flash often reigned supreme, Nikola Jokić rewrote the rules. A man built more for water polo than basketball, with a soft touch, a brilliant mind, and a laid-back spirit, he would become the best passing big man the sport had ever seen. He shattered expectations, bent the reality of what was possible for a center, and ultimately became an NBA champion, Finals MVP, and two-time league MVP, all while being the lowest drafted player ever to achieve such greatness. This is the remarkable story of how a pudgy, introverted kid from Serbia, who once preferred water polo to basketball, became one of the game's most unique legends. Born in Sombor, Serbia, a small town near the Hungarian border, Nikola Jokić grew up in a cramped two-bedroom apartment with 6 family members. His upbringing was humble, luxuries were rare. But within those tight quarters, there was an abundance of one thing: love and basketball. His father was a passionate hoops fan, and his 2 older brothers, Strahinja and Nemanja, both showed early talent. Yet little Nikola was different. He was shy, soft-spoken, overweight, and far from the prototypical athlete. Physical education was his least favorite class, and when his father forced him to attend his first basketball practice at 10 years old, Nikola cried, desperate not to go. Before basketball ever truly captured him, young Nikola spent time exploring another sport, water polo. Floating in the pools of Sombor, Jokić developed surprising endurance, hand-eye coordination, and an unusual sense of body balance for a boy his size. The strength in his hips, the control of his hands, the patience to wait for an opening. These were lessons learned in the water before they were ever refined on the court. Though his love for horses and basketball eventually won out, those early water polo sessions would leave an indelible mark on the way he moved, passed, and understood space in ways few basketball players ever could. Despite his initial reluctance, something magical happened once he stepped onto the hardwood. Placed at point guard because of his surprising ball-handling instincts, Jokić showed a feel for the game that belied his body. He was slow, the slowest kid in every game, but he understood the dance of basketball, and soon enough, he fell in love with it. However, that passion didn't come without detours. At 14, Nikola quit basketball. The reason? Horses.
I quit playing basketball when I was like 13, 14, and I was here for like 6 months. And then my dad needs to convince my trainer to put me back in basketball, so...
Sombor's local stables became his sanctuary, a place where he fed, cleaned, and bonded with the majestic animals. Basketball faded into the background until his father intervened once more, gently insisting he return to the game. Maybe, his father said, he would be able to buy his own stable someday. That dream would stay lodged in Nikola's heart forever. His return to basketball was slow but steady. Playing in Serbia's junior leagues, Jokić began dominating, averaging 20 points and 20 rebounds a game. His performances caught the eye of Miško Ražnatović, one of Europe's most powerful basketball agents. Initially skeptical, Ražnatović assumed Jokić must be an athletic freak to post such gaudy numbers.
Somehow, nobody really paid attention on this guy. This is the first and last player in the 27-year-old history of the agency that we signed him without anybody seeing him.
Upon realizing Jokić was the least athletic player on the floor, he immediately signed him without even watching him live, something he had never done before. Joining Ražnatovic's club, Mega Basket, Jokić found a home for his development. He was winning MVPs, silver medals at Youth World Championships, and putting up staggering numbers. But there was a major problem. Nikola was overweight.
When I first started playing basketball back home in Serbia, Belgrade, I really couldn't do a push-up.
Seriously overweight. He couldn't finish a game without gasping for air. He couldn't even do a single push-up. Part of the issue was his diet. Every day after practice, Jokic would devour Serbian pastries called burek, washing them down with up to 3 liters of Coca-Cola. Despite intense training and a strict nutrition plan, he barely lost weight until his coaches finally uncovered his secret addiction. Meanwhile, another vital figure returned to Jokic's life, his brother, Nemanja. Having played NCAA basketball in America, Nemanja had first-hand experience with wasted talent. Having witnessed the downfall of NBA bust Darko Milicic, who chose partying over potential. Determined not to let Nikola walk the same path, Nemanja took charge of his younger brother's diet, discipline, and mindset. Another mentor, Dejan Milojevic, Jokic's coach at Mega, saw something few others did. Nikola had the vision of a point guard, the instincts of a chess master. Milojevic granted Jokic full freedom, an unheard-of privilege for a young 7-footer. Where American big men were boxed into rigid roles, Jokic was allowed to experiment, create, fail, and grow. By 2014, Jokic was ready for the NBA draft. Yet, when his name was called 41st overall by the Denver Nuggets, it wasn't met with fanfare. In fact, a Taco Bell commercial was playing on TV when the announcement was made. And where was Nikola? Fast asleep in Serbia. Unlike most young prospects, he wasn't glued to the screen in nervous anticipation. Jokic was never interested in the hype. He stayed in Serbia for another season, winning the Adriatic League MVP and putting up monster stats. 16 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. Finally arriving in Denver, Jokic was still doughy, still unpolished, but the flashes were undeniable. He could pass like Magic Johnson, had the footwork of Kevin McHale, and the creativity of an artist. By his rookie year's end, he made the NBA All-Rookie First Team, rare air for a second-rounder. His biggest early obstacle was teammate Jusuf Nurkic, another center fighting for minutes. Denver tried to play them together, but it was a disaster. Eventually, the Nuggets made a decision. They traded Nurkic and fully committed to their unlikely superstar. It was the best decision they ever made. From there, Jokic's rise was meteoric. In 2017, he nearly averaged a triple-double after the All-Star break. In 2018, he cemented himself as the NBA's most creative center. In 2019, he earned his first All-Star selection. In 2020, he carried Denver to historic 3-1 comeback victories against Utah and the Clippers. But it wasn't until 2021 that Nikola Jokic ascended to an even higher plane. Slimmer, faster, sharper, his conditioning finally matched his mind. He averaged 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists, winning his first NBA MVP award. And the world realized something profound. The slow, goofy kid from Serbia had become one of the greatest basketball players alive. Even setbacks couldn't derail him. When Jamal Murray tore his ACL, Jokic carried a depleted Nuggets squad on his back, earning a second straight MVP award in 2022. He made history, becoming the first player ever to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. But while individual accolades piled up, Jokic remained focused only on winning. In 2023, the final transformation occurred. Now lean, conditioned, and fully in command, Jokic delivered one of the greatest playoff performances in NBA history. He led all players in total points, rebounds, and assists, the first to ever do so. He set the record for most triple-doubles in a single postseason. He dominated Kevin Durant's Suns, swept LeBron's Lakers, and outclassed Jimmy Butler's Heat in the NBA Finals. Finally, Nikola Jokic was an NBA champion and a Finals MVP. His playoff averages were absurd: 30 points, 13.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists, while shooting 55% from the field, 46% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. Historic numbers, unmatched in their totality. Yet amid the celebrations, Jokic stayed true to himself. When asked how he felt after winning the championship, he simply said, "It's good. The job is done. We can go home now."
Now you are an NBA champion, Nikola. How does that feel?
It's good. It's good.
The job is done, we can go home now.
There were no theatrics, no chest pounding, because for Jokic, greatness was never about the spotlight. It was about the game. It was about family. It was about horses. Today, Nikola Jokić owns his own stable in Serbia, fulfilling the dream his father once planted. Despite being the highest-paid player in NBA history, his happiness is simple: being with his horses, his wife, and his brothers. A chubby boy who once cried before his first practice, floated in pools dreaming of water polo, and devoured pastries like they were trophies, is now one of the greatest players the NBA has ever seen. And he did it all his own way, quietly, humbly, beautifully. The Joker, it turns out, always had the winning hand.